PolarPro makes a lot of variable ND filters. We're actually up to 3 different styles now, and they all do the exact same thing. They darken your image so you can maintain the 180-degree shutter rule when filming video to maintain accurate motion blur. That's all they do. You might have heard the saying that ND filters are like sunglasses for your camera and they help darken your image. And that's it. That's where the functionality stops. So if you're new to variable ND filters and you're on PolarPro's website, you might be getting a little confused because there are a ton of different kinds now, and they all do the exact same thing but cost different amounts. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the different utility functions of all these variable ND filters, because again, they all do the exact same thing to help you decide which one is right for you. Because let's face it, these things are not cheap in any way. Real quick, this video is not sponsored by PolarPro. They did send me all these ND filters for other paid work that I've done on other social platforms, but this video and all of the thoughts expressed in this video are entirely my own. Okay, so first up we have the cheapest of the 3. This is the classic OG variable ND filter screw-on style in collaboration with Peter McKinnon. And this thing comes in this 360-degree case, which is actually my favorite part of this ND filter. And the way that it works is that you simply unscrew the front cap of the ND filter. And once you do that, you're still left holding the entire ND using the back of the case. So that's the whole point, right? Because you're holding onto it from here, you're never gonna technically touch the actual filter or get any fingerprints. Also, the case is super durable. You can literally drop it over 1,000 times, I'm not even kidding, and nothing will happen. So the Defender case on the OG ND filter is absolutely phenomenal. So once you get that back plate off, all you do is you line it up with the threads on your camera and you simply continue to just, I guess that's what the 360 case is for. Okay, so let's try this again. You simply line up the threads with the filter and your camera lens. You continue to screw until it stops. And then all you do is you simply grab the front plate of the ND filter or the Defender case and you just pull it off. And just like that, you have the variable ND in front of your camera lens now. Now that your ND filter is on, it provides that layer of darkness that you want when shooting video so you can maintain the right shutter speed. Now, the way this variable ND filter works is that in order to change the level, you just simply turn the ND filter in front of your lens. Now, the haptic feedback on the OG lens is the best out of any of the ones we're gonna look at today, in my opinion. You just simply know without even looking at your lens if you've changed levels. The haptic feedback is super responsive. This ND filter also takes up the least amount of real estate space in front of your lens. As you can see, it's really small and barely adds any weight or size to your camera or your lens setup. This makes it really easy to travel with and to just put away inside of your camera bag with the filter still attached. You can also just pop on the Defender 360 case as a lens cap and it'll still fit in your camera bag without any issues. In my opinion, this ND filter is perfect for travel filmmakers who are on the go and just want the lightest setup possible and don't want to be changing ND filters often. This is the one that I recommend, and I believe it costs around $280. Next up, we have PolarPro's newest variable ND filter. This is the Helix Maglock variable ND filter, also in collaboration with Peter McKinnon, and this one works a little bit differently compared to the last one. So the first thing you're gonna need is this magnetic base plate. Now again, just like the last ND filter, this screws onto the top of your camera lens, and this magnetic base plate is not meant to leave the front of your lens. So ideally, if you're gonna go with this system, you probably want one of these magnetic base plates for each of your lenses or your camera bodies. So now that we have the magnetic base plate on, the next thing you wanna do is you wanna start to unpack this ND filter. Now it comes in its own Defender case, which is a little different, but it's basically 2 plates that are concealing the ND filter in between. So what you wanna do is you wanna take off the front plate by squeezing these 2 notches or handles or whatever you want to call them. You press them down and you turn. This unlocks the cap. Then to simply undo the magnetism, you pull it off. Now you have to do the same thing with the rear plate as well. Now the rear plate doesn't really have anything for you to hang on to. So in my experience, it's been a little tough to pull out because you have to dig your fingernails into that ridge. And I found that I accidentally end up touching the lens or the filter all the time, which puts fingerprints on it. Once you manage to free the ND filter from its casing, then you simply just drop it onto the magnetic plate that we attached earlier, and it should magnetize right on. Then you simply just turn once to lock it in. Now you're ready to go, and the ND filter is locked onto your lens, and this thing is not going anywhere. Just like the last one, it does have haptic feedback whenever you change levels, and it's really good. I still find that the OG haptic feedback is just a little bit better. I do have to sometimes look at the filter to confirm that I've changed my level, just because sometimes it'll skip over one if you go a little too fast, but the haptic feedback on this is still fantastic. Now you are gonna notice that this ND filter takes up a little bit more space on top of your camera lens, and it is a little bit heavier. However, it does come with a big advantage. Because it's magnetic, you're actually able to drop on additional filters. So for example, this is a CP filter, and once I have it locked in, now I actually have a double stacked filter on top of my camera lens. So I have a VND and a CPL. With this system, you're actually able to just continue to add filters on top of the lens. So I just locked on a mist filter. So now I have a variable ND, a CPL, and a mist filter. Of course, these filters come separately and they cost more, but the advantage of this system is that you're able to continue to stack filters on top of the lens. Now, obviously, this does get heavier and heavier the more that you add, and it takes up more space in front of your camera lens, which makes it difficult to fit in some camera bags. And in case you're wondering about vignetting, I've been able to add around 3 filters and still shoot at a focal length of about 15 millimeters and get no vignetting. But if you go anything beyond that, you're definitely gonna start to see some vignetting, and of course the weight and the look is going to start to get a little bit ridiculous. I think the setup is perfect for run and gun filmmakers, so if that's you and you find that you're changing environments a lot, which needs you to be able to switch your ND filters or add filters very quickly, this is the perfect setup for you, and it costs around $330. And finally, we have the Recon base kit, also in collaboration with PolarPro and Peter McKinnon, and right off the bat, this one works a little bit differently than the last few ND filters that we saw. Now, this kit does come with a few things. So the first thing you're gonna see when you open it up is this flag and hood, and then you're gonna have the main ND filter inside. Now, right off the bat, this one works a little bit differently than the last few, like I mentioned, but it also has a different level of darkness. So the last 2 filters that we looked at had a stop range of 2 to 5. That's basically how dark they can get. This one is 3 to 6, so it does get a little bit darker. This filter also comes in a super secure Defender style case, so hopefully I don't end up dropping this one again, but in case I do, it's still super secure. So the first thing you want to do is you want to undo the back plate on this filter. Once you've done that, then you simply line up the threads again like we did for the first ND filter, and you continue to turn. Once it's locked in, again similar to the original Defender 360 case, you simply grab it and you just pull it off, and it should come right off. Now, we could stop here, but you can't purchase this ND filter on its own, so it would be kind of a waste. So let's add on the rest of the small matte box kit to see what it looks like. So you want to grab your hood system. You simply want to line it up to the front of your lens, and there is a small tab. So you just pull that tab to allow this on. Now, it's going to be moving freely, so there is this little latch over here, which once you push it down, it becomes locked. And similarly, there is another tab up top, which lets you undo the hood. So if I undo this, it loosens the hood, and then I just simply lock it in. And now you have the world's smallest and portable matte box in the Recon system. Now, in case you're wondering, if I switch levels, will the matte box change? And the answer is no. PolarPro has done this in a really smart way, where you're able to just change your ND levels and the matte box is not gonna turn. The ND levels, however, don't have haptic feedback as far as I can tell. So if you're changing your ND levels on the Recon Matte Box, you actually have to be looking at it in order to know what level you're at. Now, obviously the biggest disadvantage with this is its size. There's no way it's going into a camera bag just like this, so you are gonna have to disassemble every single time you want to put it away, put it in its carrying case, and then move on to your next destination. One of the biggest advantages of this is that you can actually clip on additional filters to the front. So if I want to add like an effect like mist or blue morphic, I can definitely do that with this matte box, and I think that's incredibly handy. Of course, these filters are sold separately and they do cost a little bit more, but the added functionality for smaller documentary style crews is unmatched, and that's exactly who I think this system is for. So if you're a smaller run and gun documentary crew and you have the ability to either stay in one location or you have someone carrying your bags or helping you move around, this system is incredible just because it takes so much time to disassemble and reattach. So if that sounds like you, this is for you, and it costs around $400. And that's it. Those are all the different types of variable ND filters that PolarPro makes, their utility, sort of how they work, who I think they're for, and how much they cost. If you've come here for my personal opinion, I've been really loving using the Helix Maglock system lately just because it's so easy to switch out and move from one filter to the other or stack them. So if you want my opinion, that's the one I'm using, but make the right choice for you, whatever your budget is and whatever you're intending to use them for. That's it for this video though. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, keep creating.